Okay, let's talk about one of the most secret and, frankly, disastrous missions of the entire Trump presidency. This is a story that was buried deep, and trust me, the truth is way more shocking than you can even imagine.
We are about to get into some seriously classified details, stuff that was never supposed to see the light of day, so let's just dive right in.
So, back in early 2019, President Trump gives the green light for an operation that is about as sensitive as it gets. We're talking top secret. But what was supposed to be this clean, in-and-out intelligence mission? Yeah, it turned into an absolute catastrophe. A deadly one. And if you think that's bad, what happened next is somehow even worse. They went to incredible lengths to make sure nobody, and I mean nobody, ever found out what they did.
So let's get right to the heart of it. What exactly went down on that dark North Korean coastline? Under the pitch-black cover of night, America's most elite special forces, SEAL Team 6, just unleashed a storm of gunfire on a small boat they spotted off the coast.
And just like that, in a matter of moments, 2, maybe 3 people were dead. The SEALs moved in, expecting to find enemy soldiers.
But they weren't soldiers, not even close. They were civilian fishermen, probably just out there diving for shellfish. An absolutely fatal, irreversible mistake had just been made.
So the big question is, why were Navy SEALs even there, right? This wasn't supposed to be a combat mission. This was a super high-stakes spy op, and it was approved by the president himself.
And you got to understand, the sheer audacity of this plan was off the charts. They sent in SEAL Team 6, the same guys who got bin Laden, to sneak into North Korea to spy directly on Kim Jong Un. Their goal was to plant this super sophisticated electronic bug that would let the U.S. listen in on everything the North Korean leader was saying. I mean, the intelligence payoff would have been massive. But this whole high-risk plan was basically doomed from the start. Military investigators later called it a chain of unfortunate occurrences. You know, a nice way of saying everything that could go wrong did go wrong.
So check this out. First, their communications just died as they got near the shore. Total radio silence, no contact with their commander. Second, no drones, no eyes in the sky. They were basically using satellite pictures that weren't even live. And third, their fancy night vision goggles, they detect heat, but the fishermen were in wetsuits, chilled by the freezing water, which made them practically invisible. The SEALs were flying completely blind.
So, a horrific mistake was made. But what they did next is what takes this whole story from a tragedy to a full-blown, deliberate cover-up. Once they realized their massive error, the SEALs knew they couldn't leave any evidence behind. So, they pulled the bodies of the dead fishermen out of the sea, and then, according to an official who knew about the mission, they did something truly gruesome. They punctured the victims' lungs.
The reason for this is just chilling. By puncturing the lungs, you make sure a body won't fill up with gas and float back to the surface. They were literally burying their mistake at the bottom of the ocean.
The mission was a total bust. Innocent civilians were dead. So, what happened to the guys involved? And what are the bigger questions this whole mess leaves us with? Well, internally, a military review somehow concluded the killings were justified. Can you believe that? The whole report was immediately classified, hidden from all of us. And get this, several people involved in the mission were actually promoted later. And this is where things get really legally sketchy. According to law professor Matthew Waxman, by not telling key members of Congress about this mission, the administration may have actually broken federal law. Congress is supposed to have oversight on these kinds of major operations. And that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Did this obsession with secrecy lead the administration to just completely ignore the checks and balances that are supposed to be in place? And honestly, it leaves you with an even bigger, more unsettling question. If this is what we know about just one failed mission, what other secrets are still out there, buried deep?
That's really the question at the heart of this whole thing. I want to know what you think. Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And hey, if you found this breakdown valuable, smashing that like and subscribe button would be awesome. Thanks for hanging out.